Hey everybody, Cam Robinson here, standing in for Mark Walton. It's hard to imagine a time in Kratos' life when he wasn't whipped into a mad, revenge-fueled frenzy. After all, if his last 5 outings have taught us anything, it's that whether you're a demon, or a monster, or even a god, Kratos isn't afraid to quench his bloodlust by severing your head. So, it comes as something of a surprise to see a calmer, more thoughtful side to his character in God of War Ascension. This isn't a story about revenge or uncontrollable rage, but the tale of a tortured mind in search of the truth. Sadly, this makes things a little less exciting. Sure, like in all God of War games, the action is bloody, over the top and entertaining, and the sense of scale is impressive too. But without that constant fury permeating every punch, kick and bloody hack and slash dismemberment, God of War Ascension doesn't deliver that same gut punch of instant gratification as its predecessors. There is an element of series fatigue at play too, mostly because there's little mechanically in Ascension that wasn't taken to its logical conclusion in God of War 3. The mythical beasts, the huge sense of scale, and the grotesquely violent combat are all here, but Ascension is not a fresh take on those things. That's not to say they're not fun though. Slaying goatmen by snapping their spines in two, disemboweling a centaur, or tearing through the skull of a harpy are dark pleasures that few games can replicate with such ferocity. It's all very slick and precise, and as you tear out the heart of a fallen foe after a wonderfully skillful combo, it's hard not to be impressed. Where the combat falters slightly is in boss battles, which remain formulaic and require you to memorize each boss's repetitive movements before launching an attack. And unlike boss battles in previous God of War games, Ascensions aren't particularly taxing, thanks to simpler patterns and quick-time events. The encounters do at least play to Ascension's impressive sense of scale though. The puzzle sections fare better and break up the action to great effect. That's especially true during the latter half of the game. It's there that you pick up powers that let you rebuild and destroy sections of the environment and create a replica of yourself to pull switches or stand on blocks. Combining powers results in some excellent brain teasers that mix up spatial awareness with good old-fashioned logic for some interesting challenges. Less successful are the drawn-out platforming sections that make use of Kratos' blades to swing and leap across the environment. Awkward camera angles that don't quite line up with platforms make them trickier than they should be, while many of them simply go on for too long. You're itching to get back into the combat long before you leap across that final chasm. But there's more to Ascension than just a single-player campaign. Yes, for the first time, God of War has a multiplayer mode. And like most multiplayer modes tacked onto a largely single-player adventure, it's not something you're likely to play more than once, and only then out of morbid curiosity. The focus is on arena battling in matches of 8 or fewer players. Combat is similar to that of the single player, although it has been noticeably slowed down, no doubt to give other players more of a chance to dodge, block or parry attacks. Not that it makes a whole lot of difference when it comes down to battle. There's a certain amount of timing involved for sure, but more often than not, simply mashing buttons is enough to land yourself a kill. Should you choose to stick with it, the reward for all your hard work is experience, which can be used to unlock new moves, magic attacks and weapons for your character. The leveling system doesn't bring anything new to the multiplayer party, but it works well enough.
2,000 favor to go.
You're unlikely to play the multiplayer outside of a few practice sessions. It simply isn't deep enough to hold your attention for long. It's the single player that will eat up your time. While it doesn't quite reach the audacious and rage-filled moments of God of War Ascension's predecessors, or move the series forward in any way, it's skillfully put together and wonderfully satisfying to play. The mix of Greek mythology and lurid schoolboy fantasy still manages to simultaneously charm and gross out all at once, and that's a trait few games can boast, let alone execute with such confidence. Not to mention, Ascension looks stunning, from the lighting effects that make for moody encounters in darkened dungeons, to the detail that has been thrown into each and every stab of a knife and each drop of blood that flows from a downed enemy's recently spilled guts. Yes, it's all very juvenile, but my word, is it fun.